bitches.
Hi, hello. Welcome back to another episode of The Sun and Its Shade. Sorry, I got Fourth Wing on the brain right now.
Me too.
Someone
Brittany
decided
is
to bring it back
listening.
into my life and got me all pissy.
Brittany is listening to Iron Flame right now. She finished Fourth Wing. Like, we started it while we were driving on the way to see it, or on the way home from seeing Emily, and she has since finished it and flown through the first half of Iron Flame, and now she's in the middle of the second half of Iron Flame. So it has been heavy on my brain as well.
Yeah. It's not really been heavy on my brain. It's been heavy on my Facebook reels. So that gets it heavy on my brain.
Fair.
So, but that's okay.
But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about Nox and Amaris.
This was a lot of chapters, or a lot of pages.
Yes, this was a very long section.
But once I got through the one giant fucking chapter, the rest of it went smoothly.
It did. And I still, even though it was so much, I didn't write that much. I mean, I guess I did.
I didn't either.
But not, I think it's still just one episode worth, so we'll see how much we get through.
Without further ado.
So chapter 24 is where we are starting this time. And it is an Amaris episode. And speaking of Fourth Wing, why
Amaris
does Gadriel... Heavy. Yeah. Why does Gadriel give Tarn?
Because he's grumpy.
Yes. It's like he's like a grumpy grandpa or grumpy uncle.
It's except so he just funny
happens
too.
To be like wildly attractive, but
he's like a mixture of Xaden with Tarn.
Yeah.
So he's got the look, the appeal, the back and forth that Xaden has, the like charisma.
Yeah.
But the like
grumpy, protective,
the like the
sarcastic.
sass, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Of a grandpa. And I love it.
Yes. Agreed.
But here's the thing though. I am not a fan of Amaris. Now up until now I am not a fan of her. A lot of her chapters have been whiny. I get it. She's had a lot of issues, a lot of moments. She's had it a lot easier than her buddy from the mill.
I would agree.
So she's very annoying. She's very why?
And she's a little more immature, I feel, than Nox.
Yeah.
Like Nox was always her protector and always taking care of her. So she kind of matured a little faster, but Amaris she's also very naive. So
yeah,
sometimes she'll ask, like, she's like, Reavers are supported by the church. I should be able to ask. And Gadriel's like, yeah, bitch, but we're not just needing food and shelter. Like, we also need weapons, and we need this, and we need that. So, like, the church isn't going to give us weapons.
Yeah. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh man, I would love to go back to here so that I could do this. And he's like, no, it's after nightfall. We're not going there. We're not doing this. Like, we need food.
Yeah.
We need to do this. We need this now.
Realized that I just jumped ahead of my own notes because I was really confused when she just all of a sudden got warm. And I was like, what just happened? And at first, well, my theory when I wrote this note was, did she just like magic herself warm? Like, does she have magic she doesn't know about? And she just made herself warm?
I wondered that too, but then I thought it has to be Gad because I feel like Gad's not shivering, Gad's not like,
Yeah.
like whatever, but I wasn't before I jump ahead because like that's not even like the point I was trying to make for this chapter, but like at that point I was like, no, this has to be something to do with Gad because he's not cold at all.
Okay.
He is the kind of person who is. Did she just leave you with him?
Hold on a moment.
I'll say my spiel. Um, he is like the kind of person that I mean, he grew up with the wings. He's like Rascot Faye. He is, he was born with it. So of course he's going to know what the temperatures in the sky are like. He's gonna know all of this. He's gonna understand the feeling of this. So I just thought that because of his, I don't know, the wings that he had that he was born with, that he was warm. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like huskies. They do great in the winter because they have that thick coat.
Right,
And they're
like it
just
was
like,
almost like an evolutionary thing, like
yeah, like he's just like, oh, whatever. Like the cold never bothered me anyway. Like he's like fucking Queen Elsa over here. Like, that's what I thought. And like maybe she was in fact like, hell yeah, I'm cold. Like I'm frostbitten.
right?
But then when she walked away from him and she's like, oh, I'm so cold. And then like went into the tavern and I'm sitting here like, who the fuck is this bitch over here like making these deals, making these plans? Like this is kind of badass. Like she pisses me off, she's annoying, but this is dope. And she's in here saying, what would you trade for this? One of these really, really authentic, very great from the university health potions. Please give me some food and bread.
Yeah.
And she gets her shit, all of that. And then she goes to warm up by the fire. She gets heckled. She looks at the guys and was like, ugh, weapons for
Yep.
hire. Perfect. Says, I'll take your coat off of you if I beat you in a brawl. Wins the brawl. Perfect. Got her shit. I'll take you all three on. And for that, you have to come help me deal with this demon in the woods. And I was like, that is so fucking brilliant.
Yeah, she does it.
Okay,
I
let's do.
do have
Yep,
to
that's
say,
great.
though, before that, I wrote something because I was like getting irritated at her because, like we were talking about, she does a lot of like whining and she also does some self righteousness that I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, get over yourself. So on page 250, towards the top, she's like, she could probably tell them that she was in fact the most interesting and charming and normal person they'd ever met. It was a morally questionable tactic, and she wasn't sure if she was ready to cross that particular bridge with her gift. Okay, Amaris.
First of
But
all,
would you like first of
you
all,
just
we were
walked into this tavern. They're all
yeah.
staring at you. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. Of course, they're staring at you because you walked into a tavern.
Yeah, but also like do you need food and warmth or to not use your gift? Like it
Yeah.
seems like a no-brainer. She does pull it off without using her gift, but like if she couldn't have using her gift, like I don't feel like using her gift would have really been that big of a deal in this
I mean, you're in
situation.
what, secluded? Like,
Right. And it's not like she couldn't come back and pay them back if that's what she's worried about. Like once
yeah,
she gets to the Reavers, she could get money or whatever and go back and pay them back if
yeah.
she was really that concerned.
But it's the audacity. She walks in. Well, not even. She's like standing outside before she even walks in. She is thinking, what if they say this? What if they do that? What if they do this? Okay, uh anxiety normally states that they're going to judge you in all of the negative ways. You are implying otherwise.
Yeah.
You just don't want them to judge you. You don't want to convince them that you're interesting in any way, shape, or form. Like
Yeah.
you
And like
are putting a lot more pressure on your status than you really truly need.
Which, like, fair, because girl same, but yeah.
Mm.
Page 255. Oh, I was just like, who's this asshole talking about the guy that she fights for her cloak? And then
Dagger.
when she says, it's one against the one for the cloak, and if I take all three of you, you help me beat the Agimni residing just outside town. I just wrote, Gadriel's gonna kill her. Because he's gonna be so irritated. But that is
Like, this was your plan?
the end of chapter 24. So chapter 25 starts with her having beat them. And now they're on their way into the forest.
And she's nice and cozy warm in her nice little wool coat.
Yes. And
but she's being so fucking stupid with this part. And this just really frustrates me. Because it doesn't matter if Agimnis are real. It doesn't
there are
matter.
other monsters out there.
Yeah. And she's traipsing through the forest with 3 drunk men with a fucking torch, no less. Like, they have a torch, so there's beacon number 1, and she's yelling, "Oh, it's just this way, don't worry."
He was asleep when I saw him.
Yeah, and then, of course, they don't use, like, her real name, they call her Girl, and so then, because that frustrates her, she turns around and goes, "It's Amaris!" So everybody in the forest knows exactly who she is, whether or not, like, she's important or anything, but she's just walking through this fucking dark, thick forest where the moon barely touches the ground, is what it's described as.
Yeah, she did not think this through very well at all.
No.
And I do have to point out, though, on page 259, in the second to last chapter, that starts with the men were on edge, there's a typo. It says the men were on edge as the knelt on hands and knees, but it's supposed to be as they knelt on hands and knees.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like
finding typos. I fixed it in my book.
Of course you did. And, you know, honestly, if I were traveling with Gad, and everybody around me saw him as that demon, and I saw him as a Rascot Fae, I probably wouldn't believe in Agimnis either.
I probably wouldn't either, but she knows what all else is out there.
Oh, yes. Like, I understand where she's just like, oh, yeah, they're not real. Like, I understand that. But what about the other fucking things that you fucking dealt with?
Bitch!
But, like, excuse me, what? But, like, so she's traipsing up to her buddy Gad, and all of a sudden, he pops out of nowhere, and everybody's pissing themselves, scared, and they take off running. They drop their weapons, they're running, and so she's like, "Here's your weapon." And he's like, "That was your fucking plan? Like, that was it? That's how you know, do all of this?" And all of a sudden, a eerie little whisper comes out, "Amaris." And everybody freaks because it's definitely
including Gadriel.
Yeah, Gadriel's like, "No,
no."
And turns out it's a real life Agimni. It's an actual, like, it's a legitimate one.
Yes,
not
and
a Gad.
Also, so, like, he keeps telling her, this whole time, he's, like, hiding her, and he's like, she's like, it knows my name, and she's like, you know, Agimni, they lie, they're agents of fear, focus. But on page 269, he says, keep your mouth closed. And I'm like, is that, like, is he telling her to be quiet? Or, like, if not, what will happen if she doesn't keep her mouth closed? Like, will it fly into her mouth? Will it poison her? Like, what's...
Well, and they kept talking about the shadows, too.
Yeah.
And when she for some fucking reason, I remember this, but, like, in the first book when they were talking about, like, all the various different, like, monsters and such, Gimli were very little because not much is known or no one survived
Yeah.
from it, probably because they opened up their mouth. What if you become
Yeah.
an Gimli when you open up your mouth?
I don't know. It's like contagious or some shit.
Maybe it's like a Wendigo. No. No. I'm trying to think of the, like a real life counterpart to like a Dementor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh, that's
I
what
mean,
I'm
kind of
thinking.
like a succubus, like they suck out your life essence.
Just the opposite way.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on what lore you're looking at, because some of them suck it out of your mouth.
True. I was gonna say, eh, that's a little different.
A little depends on which lore you look at,
All right, well, we're
but
looking at this lore.
but even like on page 270, like after he tells her that, like a little while after, she's like, um, she continued to pull breath stained with rotten eggs and decay through her nostrils, refusing to open her mouth. She didn't understand the instruction, but wasn't ready to take risks. But she never asks him. Like in all of these chapters, she never asks him, why couldn't I open my mouth? But that would
No,
be the first motherfucking thing I asked.
and the one thing that she is so worried about is not even like why, not even how do you know so much, like what's going on, like what this, what that. It's I don't trust him because of what the Gimli said to me. And it's like, he just told you they will literally instill fear in you. This
Right, and
is a
she should
different type of
already know
fear.
that. She should
And as a
already know
reaver,
that.
yeah, as a reaver, you're going to go up against these monsters. You
Yeah.
are trained to do that. So, what's a different type of fear? The camaraderie that you so much
Distrust.
believe in, distrust.
Yes.
That's a different kind of fear in and of itself. Bitch.
Absolutely. I do think that there is more to her about her than we know, though. Like I feel like
Oh, yeah. I don't think a Gimni's, like, so lies. I mean, I think maybe they do a little bit, like, yeah,
kind
maybe
of like
she
the
is a
Fae. I feel
moonchild.
like where they like twist the truth. Like they don't say exactly what they mean, but
They don't come right out with the truth.
yeah.
Like, I mean, I didn't say that. Well, you didn't say it this way either. Yeah, you're right. Well, and
Yeah.
it's
And
kind of one
then
of those things too where it's like when you come across somebody who is like, "May I have your name?" And then as soon as you like start giving it to them, then like you can't say your name anymore, and then like that new person has that name now, like the Fey little trick. It's kind of like that,
yeah.
but um, I don't know. She's just freaking out over what this thing said, and I'm sitting here like, of course Gad's gonna have secrets. He's literally a general for the enemy of state.
Right. And he
Like,
just met you. Like,
yeah,
yeah, you've been through a lot together, but he just met you.
yeah. And she's sitting here like, well, of course I didn't realize that a Gimni would actually be real. I've just traveled with this guy for so long. And it's like, yeah, she's going like Marai or Moroi or whatever is going to choose something that has no concrete background because of how little survival there is
Yeah.
from encountering these things. These
Well,
guys
and
probably been
like
around for fucking centuries.
I'm so irritated at her too because at the end of the chapter on page 276, she's like, first of all, you almost died, bitch. Like, if it weren't for Gadriel, you would have died.
Right.
Second of all, she's all like, he could have given her any excuse and she would have swallowed it, but his deflection told her more than any answer could have. She didn't know why, how or why, but she was certain Gadriel was hiding something. I I don't care. Like, yeah, he's hiding something, but you all are on the same team right now.
Right. Like you're
So
both trying to go to Rascot. Like, calm down.
Yeah, like, even if he is your enemy, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and the queen is definitely your enemy, so, like, let's work together. You don't have to
That is
trust him completely, but, like, come
that is why
on.
Violet and What's Her Nuts Cat got along so well, because they have the same exact fucking enemy in the end.
Yes. They
Xaden.
come together. Oh my gosh. But that's the end of chapter 25.
Yes.
So 26, we are finally back to Nox.
This
A
what?
lot fucking happened.
Okay. Okay, I forgot what the fuck happened last time. Because of whatever the fuck was going on with the Agimni. So last time, Nox took a bite of the fucking apple. The
Yes,
Tree
she
of
did.
Life gave her an apple. She took a bite out of it because she wanted to be the next fucking Eve of the Christianity realm. And turns out it's an apple of knowledge. Or an apple of memories, to be more precise. But
Yeah, so it like takes her back in a vision, basically.
yeah, so I have some on 284 whenever.
I have something on 282. So she's back in the temple, and the princess is there.
Princess Daphne.
Yes, and she's bringing like this woman close to the tree. And I'm like, or the priestess is bringing Daphne closer to the tree, and she's like super injured and not doing so hot. And then she her arms release what she's been holding. A small child rolls to the ground, and Princess Daphne joins him, kneeling over him. She cried over the tiny broken boy. She touched his hair, shushing him lovingly as if it would bring him back to life. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then she just keeps saying, he knows. And I'm like,
He who?
yeah, who the fuck are we talking about?
Who?
What's going on?
Who
So this is
are
the
we
prince,
talking about?
right? This is the prince that this small dead child is the prince that Moray or whatever her name is.
I know, I can never say it correctly,
I
even
think
with the
it's
pronunciation down.
Moray. I don't know.
It's Moray.
Moray is the boy.
That's how I see it. That's how I want to pronounce it, and that's how I want to
That's
sing it.
honestly, I'm pretty sure it is Moray. Like the Ray is the part you emphasize. But this is the prince that she is like pretending is still alive.
Yeah.
This child. And then I don't have anything till 285.
So, first off, our could have been Nox, specifically Nox, was completely trampled when they said he. So
Yeah.
it's fucking sad, to be honest. But what? Excuse me. 284. He knows it's not his son? Ma'am, were you seeing another man, or are we talking about the king?
Yeah, like what is happening here? Well,
Because if
I
he
feel
knows
like,
it's not his son, then why is he going on this crazy crusade?
well, I'm wondering,
But
like, was she supposed to be betrothed to someone?
because they didn't want to see each other, or they couldn't see each other because of mama.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, was she supposed to be
And
betrothed
then,
to someone, and that person is like he knows it's not his son?
yeah. And then I like so want Nox or Amaris to be the stolen child. That I'm like, what if they're what if they were like given as a boy and then like rebirthed as a female? I mean, but so like maybe Princess Daphne had a betrothed something or another, husband, not wife, husband. So I don't know. That's like Real Housewives of Obeyed shit right here.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
lot of
so
drama.
a lot of wild stuff happens. Like she's like the princess is like praying that someone comes, please send your grace across this land, please protect our child, I beg you. Like, I'm like, is Amaris or Nox, I guess, the answer to that prayer? Like, they're coming to fix things.
I mean, maybe.
And then on 286,
Well, and
this
maybe
scene. Sorry, this scene reminds me of when Harry dies. It is at King's Cross Station with Dumbledore, and there's like the little dead Voldemort over there, like whining. Because she's like, a small sound catches her attention, and she's like looking for the sound. And she's like, that's very important sound.
come back here.
But she's the tree, so she can't like go to
Do
it.
anything. Yeah. I was gonna say, I wonder if it is Amaris because it all happened at night and she is like as white as the moon. The Gimni called her the moon child. Stay wild, moon child.
I almost
Watch. And then the
wonder.
fucking Nox.
So as Nox is like the tree, right? The guy comes and steals something that was intended for the tree. And I'm almost wondering if she didn't like, the priestess didn't like reincarnate the princess in some way. Like, is Amaris the princess? And she was like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably reaching.
I feel like that's a very far reach.
Yeah, I'm definitely reaching. But like, what did the guy steal? Was it an apple? Was it a baby? Like, what did he steal?
I do kind of see where you're going. I have no idea where you're going with that whole like reincarnation thing. I see where you're going with like did he steal like a baby because Amaris showed up on like a rainy night
Right.
um to the mill by a guy or whatever.
Yeah.
So like yeah, I mean yeah, it could very well have been that one. And it could have been like the gift from the tree.
Yeah, I guess I just assumed that it was a baby, but it never actually says that. It just says it's something that makes the noise, that's making
Yeah.
noise.
And that's when she's like, because he like goes off, and that's when she's screaming like, "Come back here!"
Yeah. And then that's the end of chapter 26. And the beginning of chapter 27, she's like waking up from a dream because she's been screaming in her
Wakes the whole
sleep.
house up.
Yeah, and Malik is there and he's like holding her.
My poor girl.
And they're like, it was just a dream, it was just a dream. Like, obviously we know it was not just a dream, and so does Nox. But and so I didn't have anything else till 296.
Uh my mine's just like an overall thought process. So Nox, poor girl, has a lot of trauma responses, specifically emotional neglect. Not necessarily abuse, but neglect. Because she does speak a lot about liking that close proximity.
Yeah.
Enjoying the motherly love, essentially.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like how she feels like, because there's like snippets in the text where it sits there and says, "Oh, I wish he didn't move away. I wish he stayed near." And it's like that makes it seem like she likes him, but then it's like we all know she is madly in love with Amaris. She is soul bent on getting back Amaris.
Yeah.
But at the end of the chapter, she like thinks about all the times that she was consoled when she was hurt or sad or whatever. And like listed Malik as one of them, and like enjoying the touch, enjoying not even like the attention, just enjoying like that proximity. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, man, my poor girl.
Yeah. I wrote on page 296, I'm betraying my queer little heart, but I actually like Nox and Malik.
I do too. I was like, damn, I know why she's saying this, but like,
yeah.
listen, if it wasn't for Malik, I'd be like, Nox and Gad would be next endgame.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm all for a gay book, but Amaris really pisses me off.
Well, yeah, and like the more that we get to know them and the more that they're apart, I feel like they're growing in different directions. Like they're very different people now. So even when they get back together, are they even gonna recognize each other? I mean, yes, looks wise, but like when they start talking and trying to
Personalities.
bitch, fix it. When did you do that? It was correct just a minute ago.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. I just looked at it.
It's been like that for a bit.
I can't stand you. Anyway,
Ooh.
the poor people that are just listening and not watching on the YouTube are going to be so confused. Anyway.
Hold on, we gotta explain it.
I was in the middle of a thought.
While you get that thought back, I'll explain it. With this new recording software we're using, you can put on the bottom of our names like who we are, and so we have host. Before we started recording, I changed it to ho.
And then I fixed it.
And so then I changed it, and she's like in the middle of a thought. She's like looking down, and I like ever so casually reached up here, and I changed it back to ho. Ooh.
And I just noticed it.
That's so good. I'm gonna get you a sticker with that exact background. Everything. And it's gonna in the background it's gonna say, "Bitch, fix it."
Anyways,
Weird.
I was just saying I feel like they're so different now that it's going to take them time to like get to know each other, and then like are they even going to like each other?
Honestly. Sorry, my cheeks hurt.
And then on the last thing I have for this chapter is on the very last page I highlighted a quote that I really liked.
What's the quote?
The world was terrible, but it had moments of beauty that could only be seen when contrasted against their pain. Like, I just like
Brings
that.
a tear to my eye.
Yeah. And then that's the end of chapter 27.
I wonder. So I know it says like she said in the last chapter, like he knows it's not his son. But like, so we don't know who that is.
Mm-mm.
What if the queen beat her daughter senseless? Or had one of the guards beat her daughter senseless? once she found out she was seeing some, like, the King of the North behind her back.
I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. The bitch is evil.
Yeah.
So
What? Oh, that's weird. Actually, I was gonna say, oh, what if she's like making her think that she's like engaged to somebody else, and then she got pregnant with some other dude's baby, and then I was like, oh, how did it? Wait, hold up.
that's a little rapey.
I was like, hold up, how is that even like? How is that even possible?
Yeah, don't like that.
Anyways, okay. Chapter 28.
Yeah, chapter 28. I really didn't have much for this chapter. I wrote quite a bit for 29 actually, but for 28 I wrote a lot of hearts, and the first thing that I wrote a heart about was just that just Ash and her's relationship, because she's like, I have a friend. Like, she doesn't know what to do with that. She's never had
Yeah.
a friend before.
So on page 304, and this is like where I first like made a comment about it, and I was like, sob. Nox is healing. And this is part of the like the emotional neglect.
I highlighted this whole conversation.
Like, honestly, just star the whole page. So like on the page before, like they're obviously Axe is teaching her. Hold on. Give me a second. I'll get my thoughts straight.
It is hard. It's like a Ash is teaching her how to axe.
Ash is teaching her how to axe throw.
Because he got her a new axe.
And a legitimate axe.
Like a battle axe.
Yeah. One that is made for fighting, not one that is made for firewood, as he so lovingly tells her all the time. So after, you know, doing the preliminary everything and then doing like the first couple of tosses, she like looks at him and goes, Ash, why are you doing this? And he like frowns at her like, that's a weird question to ask. Like, what, why? What do you mean? And she's like, the axe, teach me how to throw it, help me out. Is it because of Amaris? He goes, what about her? And she goes, oh, is it something else? Like, she's getting uncomfortable because like her entire life it was either
quid pro quo. It was always something.
Yeah, like I'm either doing this because you know somebody, or like I'm doing this because later on you're gonna do this for me. And Ash like freaks out and goes, oh goddess, no, Nox, no, you're my friend, holy hell woman, I'm not sure what sort of friends you've had in the past, but I'm glad you have new ones now. And it's like he's never actually like offered up the word friends to her. He's like implied that they were friends, but not said like you're my friend in like other words. But he straight up was like, I'm glad you have new ones now, talking about him and her and all of that. And he goes, honestly, the way you look at the world is a whole box to unpack on its own, but maybe that's best saved for another day. Now, do you want to learn how to throw your axe, or should we continue with truly the bleakest outlook on the world I've ever heard? And it's like, I feel like Nox, that's what Nox needs. She not necessarily needs like the ray of sunshine that Malik offers, but the like, I'm not trying to pry into your personal life. I am trying to offer you assistance in something that I think you're passionate about. But this is very, very bleak. So if you would like to continue on with that, we can, or we could do the fun thing. What do you want to do? And like, because of the way she is, because she's still trying to unpack a lot of her drama from her, you know, life, I think that's the kind of reaction she needs in terms of this. But he is like, listen, I'm sorry at whatever sort of life you like led to. And then he's like, you know what? No, we're like, you're already sad. Like, we're not doing this anymore. Go ahead, plant your feet. Let's go.
Yes, let's throw this axe.
And then he's like, she's like, we? He's like, yeah, you're not as alone as you think you are. And she's like, I could do it. So for like the next couple of hours, Malik sat there and the Duke came and watched her practice her little throwing, and I'm like, oh, they're
Yes.
fuck the Duke, but the other two are genuine friends. Oh, yay.
Yes.
Healing.
Yes.
Next thing I have is 309.
Um. 304. The naming conversation. Yes, that's the next thing I have as well. 309. Um. Because they ask her. Malik asks her, "Have you considered naming it?" Talking about her axe, and she's like, "I can give it a name." And I just.
Oh, God, sorry. I don't know why I didn't think that there.
I just love it. So she chooses the name Chandra, which I actually went to school with a girl named Chandra, and I wonder if like this is a real story.
Yeah.
Like is this a real thing? So one of her clients left a book for her, and it's a beautiful little story about a hero needed to bring his lover to the moon. He set out to grab the moon when it was full and chased it night after night, climbing the tallest mountains to fetch his prize. By the time he reached it, there was scarcely a sliver left to return to her. And the axe's edge is so dramatically curved, and with those open spaces on either side, it looks like the smiling mouth of a crescent moon. The hero in the story called his beloved Chandra after the very test she'd requested of him to prove his love. And so I thought it would be appropriate to name it as such. So, like, she names the axe Moon, but who is the moon child? Amaris. So who
I
is she
want her.
naming her axe for?
Amaris.
Yes.
So Chandra means shining or moon, is a Hindu god of the moon, and is associated with the night, plants, and vegetation.
Okay, yeah, her mom probably, the girl I went to high school with, I don't know that she was Indian, but she would definitely had a little bit of some type of flavor in her other than
Mm-hmm.
just white. So I bet that she was named after that.
The uh, well, I was trying to see if this thing was legitimate, but according to the story, Tara came to Chandra's abode during her wanderings, and they fell in love with each other. Despite multiple attempts to reclaim his wife, Tara remained with Chandra. I cannot pronounce that name. Disciples and even the guy himself confronted Chandra, who argued that Tara had come of her own will and would leave when she desired. The situation escalated when he sought the intervention of the Devas. Indra, the king of the Devas, threatened war to compel Chandra to return Tara. However, the Devas was divided in their opinions, and the Asuras, led by their preceptor Shukra, sided with Chandra. A fierce conflict ensued between the Devas and the Asuras, resulting in cosmic turmoil. Eventually, Brahma, the creator, intervened to restore order. He admonished Chandra and Sukra, leading to the cessation of the battle. Chandra reluctantly returned Tara. However, Tara was already pregnant, which gave rise to a dispute over the child's paternity. Brahma once again intervened, questioning Tara directly. She revealed that Chandra was the father. Consequently, Brahma ordered Brihaspati, the original husband, to hand over the child to Chandra. The child born from this union was named Buddha, who later became an important deity associated with intellect and wisdom. Um, mm, that's all I got. Um, I like the background to the story and the reasoning behind naming her axe that. I don't particularly like the name Chandra.
Yeah, I get that.
I can just imagine trying to scream that in battle. Chandra!
I thought you were gonna say in bed, so like that was a whole different conversation.
Hey babe, let me bring my battle axe to bed. Babe, meet Chandra.
I was just thinking about like just as a human's name, like a person's name.
No,
Screaming it into
I'm
bed.
like thinking it like in terms of like for a weapon.
Yeah.
That's so funny. No, but yeah, no, I don't really care for that.
That's fair.
and then
That's
and
fair.
then Ash is like, "You're naming your axe Moon."
Yeah, he's like, really?
Fuck you, Ash.
Which I think is great. I like
I
that
think it's
they're in a comfortable enough relationship to give each other shit.
yeah. Like, listen, Ash, when I got my fish, his name was Moon, okay? And now it's Eugene. Fuck you.
Well, I feel like that's no different than half the people who call their dog Luna.
True though.
Like, that's literally Moon, so.
Oh, Luna. Sailor Moon.
But yeah, so that's the end of chapter 28. One more
Chapter
chapter.
29.
I feel like we're doing pretty good, right?
Yeah.
We got
47
this.
minutes.
We got this.
Oh yeah, because you can't see the timer.
I can't on this thing, but I looked when we started recording what time it was, so. Chapter 29. I wrote a lot for some reason. I think it's just because it was a really long chapter. But I'm probably gonna skip over some of what I wrote because some of it I'm like, that's dumb. Why did you write that? But the very first thing I wrote was I didn't write anything till page 314, and I only wrote something because I was like, I'm like 7 pages into the chapter and I haven't written anything. And I don't ever know what to write about Amaris chapters because a lot of it is just them bickering. There's nothing happening. They're just bickering back and forth. And it's not like banter. Like the banter's not bantering. It's like an immature child arguing with their grandfather.
Yeah. It's like watching Up.
Yeah. Like, I don't like it. But this chapter is probably the best Amaris chapter in a hot minute. Even though it's incredibly long for no reason.
Yeah, it was really honestly, this was the most fucking weird chapter thus far. I was like,
so we start to learn more about Gadriel. A little bit about Daddy Gad.
is a little weird.
Because we start talking about
And a little feral.
yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, the way he goes about this is super fucking weird. He's like, you wouldn't have believed me otherwise, but like, bro.
Like, that's fine if I'm not gonna believe you, but like
the way we go about this is a little wild. And
like, why do you gotta look so like animalistic though?
Yeah. So he's
like,
talking
you look
about
excited to kill her.
Yeah. It's wild. This whole chapter is wild. But we learn a little bit more about King's series, where he can speak to animals and he's a dream walker and
Which, what if, because she's sleeping, also having a memory, what if it was Ceres
giving that knocks the dreams?
Well, that too. But like while Nox was like sleeping, having like that memory of the tree, what if it was like Ceres in it? Like what if that was the guy walking away?
Could have been. I don't know. It's wild. This whole thing is wild. And so on page 316, actually what I wrote was so King Series is a dreamwalker, and then I was like, oh shit, and so is his daughter. But is his daughter Nox or is his daughter Amaris? Because I'm still convinced one of them is his daughter.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it has to be Nox because he's from the north, and that's where the people with darker pigmented skin live in this world, right? Yeah, so I feel like it has to be Nox, but it could also be Amaris. I don't fucking know. But
And
I
you know
say
what?
that
It could be
because
none of them, and it could
if
be somebody from the fourth fucking book that we haven't
it,
even got to yet.
this is true. We're only on the second book. So, it could be lots of things could happen. But I feel like, which I could again be totally wrong, but I feel like I'm on something because they keep having the dreams, like Nox keeps having dreams where Amaris is there. And this makes me think that it's Amaris that's dreamwalking, but it could be Nox and she just doesn't realize she's doing it. But because Amaris is always like, why do you keep saying I'm not really here? And I
Yeah, because
wonder,
it's like so real but not real.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of them and they're dreamwalking and they just don't realize they're doing it. And then I didn't write anything else till 319.
Go ahead.
So on page 319, they're kind of arguing, but she's asking him a lot of questions and he's talking about how a lot of the Fae north of the border have wings, especially if both of their parents are also Rascot Fae. And she's like, why didn't you call yourselves the Dark Fae? And finally, in over halfway through book 2, he says, because it's racist, witchling.
Yeah.
Finally. And she's like she kind of is shocked a little bit, and then she's like, oh my god, like she didn't even think about it being racist. So it's kind of wild.
Yeah, bitch.
I wrote boom.
Mic drop.
Right. And then we've kind of already talked about this, but on page 321, I wrote, I knew it was some kind of magic because he shows her one of his one of his powers that he hasn't told her about yet. And basically, he can make his skin as like hot as the sun. Like, so he makes her touch his hand and burns the shit out of her to prove a point because he's kind of an asshole. But
True.
that is what was keeping her warm while they were flying. Like, he was heating up his body to keep her warm. I was like, I knew it was magic.
I do it.
And then he's got an even crazier power. Like, what the fuck? So, and not only this, but he doesn't. I don't know. This whole situation was wild. So he just says, you want to see my abilities, don't you? Did you demand it? Break my neck. And she's like, the fuck? And he's like, break my neck. And I feel like anyone with a modicum of common sense would understand in this situation that if he's trying to show you his powers and he's telling you to murder him in cold blood, that he probably can resurrect.
Plus, he straight up said, have your potions ready.
Yeah, like, I feel like it was, in fact, before he actually tells us, I was like, can he resurrect? And then this was on page 323, and then I didn't say anything else till 329 because he's like goading her into fighting, which is super annoying. He does like all this stuff to piss her off and scare her, so much so that she does finally break his neck. And then she's so like weird. Panicking. She's like, she's making herself sick. She's like, oh my god, I just killed him. Freaking out. But like, again, are you that dense? Like, what?
He literally told you to do this.
Right. So he could show you his power. Like, what do you think his power was going to be?
To
Anyway,
fly.
he resurrects, and she gives him the tonics to help himself heal the rest of the way. And then on 331, she's kind of pissed.
Which I feel like she shouldn't be pissed. She straight up asked him, was like, come on, show me. Come on, show me. Come on, show me. Come on, show me.
Agreed, but also he could have told her what was going to happen.
Oh, yeah, true.
He could have been like, break my neck and I will resurrect. Like, I don't know. It was just a little different. But it's a different kind of power. So it's a lot harder for him to do than just warming up.
Yeah, it's his secondary power.
Yeah, and then I didn't write anything else till 336, which is the last page of chapter 29.
I just said this was just so fucking weird.
The whole thing is so weird. So basically what's happening is he showed her powers, or his powers, and now she's like, I want you to help me discover if I have any other powers. That's how this whole conversation came about. But in their culture, the way that they figure out if someone has other powers is kind of like how baby birds learn to fly. Like, they just drop them off a cliff. Or, like, they do crazy shit to them. Kind of like in Harry Potter, where Neville's uncle, like, throws him out a window to try to make him manifest his magic. And, like, that kind of crazy stuff. And so Gadriel decides they need to have a safe word. And their safe word, for whatever reason, is snowbird.
I know, I was like, what?
I feel like that's not coincidental. I feel like, is it... like, she's so pale. Is she somehow related to them? Is she, like, some rare kind of Rascot Fae that is pale, but they do have wings, but she doesn't have wings because only one of her parents had wings? Like, what is happening here?
I don't know.
But it's weird.
I mean, she could be from the frozen straits because of how pale she is.
True.
I mean, which is Rascot, but...
Right. I don't know. I was just like, this whole safe word thing, like, I get why they need a safe word based on the type of training they're about to do, but it's still, first of all, weird, and second of all, snowbird? Like, I mean, I guess that's not something that you're going to say in casual conversation, but...
Still. Snowbird? But, whatever. This was, without a doubt, the most off the wall episode.
Yeah, it was. And that was the best Amaris chapter.
Which is so sad, because that was so fucking weird.
It was so weird, but I still think it was the best Amaris chapter.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Okay, until next time.